The stink was on with Willard and Dibbs yesterday, and I have to tell you what he said about Trent Williams being game ready on Monday. Plus, for the third consecutive year, coaches and executives were polled by The Athletic to answer a few questions about other players and teams in the National Football League. And it's all good and well for me to say who I think the next MVP is, but what do actual NFL talent evaluators, the most brilliant minds in the sport at the highest possible competitive level, think who's going to be the MVP, the OPOY, the DPOY, and more? Plus, later in the show, I've got some hype audio for you out of the mouth of Greg Cosell, football genius. You're not going to want to miss it. In fact, if you get bored halfway through this video, just scroll on over there and make sure you don't miss that Greg Cosell audio. Very interesting there from him on Brock Purdy, as well as one of the funniest things I have seen in a very, very long time. All in today's show. If you're new here, I'm Nate Wordlove. We love talking the 49ers every day, so make sure you subscribe and hit that like button if you haven't yet. Let me first get to the Trent Williams audio because I want to get there right out the gate. I want to make sure you don't miss it. This is what Mark Schlereth, the Stink, had to say on Willard and Dibbs yesterday on whether the Trent Williams is going to be game ready come Monday.
It's been funny because all last week and this week, I'm like, I am not the least bit concerned. Like they're going to figure out a way to get, Aiyuk done or whatever, or traded or whatever they were going to do. And Trent Williams is such a freak show that guy doesn't need practice. As a matter of fact, my whole kind of thought process on Trent was it's probably best just to not have him practice, right? Probably best, at 15 years in the league and being one of the most dominant players in the league, just don't even have him practice. Come in when he comes in and he'd be ready to roll. So.
Oh, and then we got an audio, we got a commercial out of nowhere. What was that? Dirty. But what I love that he was saying there is that, what we all were kind of wondering, is it possible that Trent Williams is doing that? And then how everything came across and felt, it doesn't seem at all surprising to me that that's actually the case. Here's, to finish his thought, Mark Schlereth.
Get this done. That was kind of what I felt all along. And it was great to see them get that contract signed and watch him get paid because the dude is just an absolute dominant freak show. So, he's just one of those dudes. Like, it's funny when you talk to Kyle, he's like, hey, listen, man, this is a dude that when he does something, when he practices, like the team shuts down to watch him. Like, that's how impressive he is. Like other athletes that have played professional football will stop what they're doing to watch this guy, his movement skills, and the way he dominates the line of scrimmage.
And it's just fun to watch.
And I live in the Denver area, and I've many a days got in the car to drive to work, turn on the sports radio, and there's Schlereth and Evans. Those of you that live in Colorado, a few of you out there, you know what I'm talking about. That's the fan morning show is what it's called. And I trust this guy's opinion on offensive line play as good as the next. I mean, he really does have great eyes for the offensive line. Obviously, that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And I respect when he says, the dude's going to be game ready. This might have been a part of the plan. It's all good. Everything's gravy. That's what you want to hear, by the way. I got more on Trent later in the video, a little bit more. But I wanted to get to this third annual NFL Decision Makers Rankings that just came out again, and they confirmed the hope that I have for this season. I'm going to break it down in a sec, but I want to know, while we're talking about hope, how hopeful are all of you? Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you feeling hyped right now? Because another Athletic article that came out recently was kind of related to how optimistic different fan bases are about the season. And I'm not going to lie to you, the number one ranked San Francisco 49ers, depending on which outlet you choose, it's one between first, second, or third. But I've got the number one ranked roster in football. The San Francisco 49ers fan base is number 11 ranked in optimism, probably because of the beatdowns that the fan base has all felt, as we all felt after Super Bowl loss again. But whatever the case is, they came in, the 49ers fan base came in at 85.9% optimistic. If I just go through the top of it while we're on this and just comment, where are you guys at? Are you feeling super optimistic? Are you cautiously optimistic? Where are you at right now? And I also say, I don't know how long this data goes back, so I don't know if this counts I think this is actually, you know what? It says it right here. It was before Brandon Aiyuk signed. It was before CeeDee Lamb signed for the Cowboys. So that gives you a bit of an era in terms of kind of where the 49ers fans were at. So maybe the feeling is different. Let me know in the comments what the feelings were. But Detroit Lions came in at 98.8% optimism, meaning 98.8% of fans surveyed are optimistic and positive about where this season's going. Kansas City Chiefs at 98.7%. That's completely understandable. Chicago Bears. Oh boy, guys. Oh no. Oh, the Bears fans. Like, this is Bears fans doing what Bears fans do. I have many friends who are Bears fans. Love you guys, but this is a mistake. 97.6% of Bears fans are optimistic about the outcome of this season, being Caleb Williams and how amazing he's going to be and all the skill positions that are added. All fair points, but the guy's never thrown a football in the actual NFL. I'd be just a little bit careful there to get too overly optimistic. And if I know anything about my Bears fans, my Bears friends, I'm just going to say, what has history proven? Don't get too hyped on your quarterback. All right, Jay Cutler. Green Bay Packers at 97%. That one makes good sense to me. Houston Texans, same boat, 96%. Makes sense to me because it's on the ups, right? They're on the ups. Cincinnati Bengals, could be risky, but we'll see. I understand the optimism there. Rams, then Eagles. Not so sure Eagles fans should be as optimistic as they are, but at 90.6%. Then the Jaguars, then the Falcons, then the 49ers. Come on, guys. We are less optimistic as a fan base than the Atlanta Falcons? Okay. Anyway, my goodness. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I just found that absolutely fascinating as a sociology study, let's say. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Scale of 1 to 5, whatever you think. But the decision makers rankings are in, and they came from The Athletic, which is behind a paywall. So I'm just going to put a fancy Athletic logo there instead of showing you everything that they have covered, because I think that's the ethical thing to do. And I'm going to tell you the big things that the 49ers fans need to be aware of. Firstly, Brock Purdy does not show up on the MVP rankings, according to NFL decision makers. And that's not entirely surprising for two reasons. One, it's not entirely surprising because the general sentiment on Brock Purdy is not where I think it should be. That's just being said. But secondly, if the 49ers are incredible, if Brock Purdy is incredible, it's going to go through amazing weapons. And people just don't give Brock Purdy, the credit for the accomplishments that he has, because that credit goes to the guy who catches the ball. And that's just the way that it's going to go until either Brock Purdy has done it enough times that people just come around to how good he is, or until Brock Purdy is thrown to guys who are not, top 5 wide receivers, number 1 running back. You get what I'm saying? Number 1 tight end, or at least number 2. I think rated number 1 after last season, but whatever. So I think for Brock Purdy to be the MVP, he would have to throw for like 5,000 yards and 40 TDs or something. Like, it would have to be absolutely insane and super, super obvious that it was nothing that was done by players. It was all him. So the next one, starting a franchise from scratch, you could pick top 3 quarterbacks. Who do you want? A couple people did list Brock Purdy as in their top 3, which I do think is interesting, because if you're starting a franchise from scratch and you can pick 3 quarterbacks, I think most people are picking Mahomes. That's what the stats say, according to The Athletic, right? That's what all these guys are saying. Mahomes is their number 1. Interesting that you put Brock Purdy in your top 3, and I think there's maybe a little bit of thinking there about what Brock Purdy gives you from a system perspective. But you also have the benefit of the cap hit too, right? Rookie quarterback. League's best offensive player, that's a non-QB player. There were split votes for Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Christian McCaffrey, which tells you what the league thinks, what the executives, what the coaches think about Christian McCaffrey's value. And that is just not how people perceived the move when the 49ers moved mountains to bring Christian McCaffrey in. So kudos to the 49ers and kudos to Christian McCaffrey for proving everybody wrong on that one. What was really kind of cool in that one, though, was for the second year in a row, Trent Williams was listed, snagging a vote or two, as well as Jamar Chase snagged a vote or two, but was listed on that list, meaning that some coaches went out of their way to say, no, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Christian McCaffrey are not the league's best offensive non-QB player, Trent Williams, is the best, meaning they only got one choice, and they chose Trent Williams. Wowza. And I understand it. I understand the argument, and I hear it sometimes, and I think, you know what? Like, it's not where my mind goes, but I also can't really prove you wrong either. Hard to do that. Who is the league's best defensive player? Several votes went Nick Bosa's way, but most of them toward Myles Garrett and a handful of Micah Parsons. I think the interesting thing will be this year. If we had to project what this is going to be next year, I think Nick Bosa's just about to set up for a tear this season. I think he's going to be incredible, and I think we're going to be talking about Nick Bosa the way we talked about him after that DPOY year. Dallas Cowboys were named most likely to surprise in a bad way, followed by the Dolphins, Bills, Jets, and then 49ers. So interesting on the Dallas Cowboys, just because I like to troll the Cowboys, because who doesn't like to troll the Cowboys? Of course they're going to be most likely to disappoint. Look at them. They always seem to make you think they're incredibly talented, and then they never manage to do anything when it really matters at the bookend of the season. And their bookend closes faster than everybody else's. Interesting, though, then you got Dolphins, who are most likely to disappoint. That one, I half understand and I half don't understand, but I think it's probably hype around the amount of skill position players you have, similar to the 49ers. The Bills makes a lot of sense to me because I think the fan base expects a lot out of the Bills, but the Bills have lost a lot of players. There's a lot of question marks on both sides of the ball for the Buffalo Bills. Then the Jets, I understand, because it's the Jets. I mean, look at their history and look at how much disappointment they've had. And then you look at last season and you think Aaron Rodgers could very easily find himself 40-year-old injured again, and that would be a factor. And then the 49ers, I would understand in the sense that you got a lot of skill position players. You have a lot of number 1, number 2 ranked players. You have an incredibly talented football team, and you have a recent history of not doing so well in the final game of the season. So we'll have to prove them wrong. 49ers, we got to prove them wrong. There's heartache in the area, and I understand. Let's get to Greg Cosell. I want to get to Greg Cosell here because I'm really hyped about this, guys. What Greg Cosell had to say, really, really awesome about the Brock Purdy. The question was, Greg Cosell, football genius. I'm throwing football genius in there. When you watch Brock Purdy play quarterback in the NFL, what do you see?
Brock Purdy does two things exceptionally well that were very hard to see coming out of college, because the college game, he really didn't need to do those things. Number one, and this is really, really impressive, is he is so good responding in half a second, and that may be too long, responding to late coverage rotation, to when a defense disguises coverage and they move at the snap of the ball and the coverage changes. He sees that instantly, picks it up, and knows exactly where to go with the football. Secondly, he has unbelievable anticipation. You don't have to make a lot of those kinds of throws in college football, but he is just a master at being able to throw the ball very often before receivers break. He has a great feel for zone windows and where do you throw the ball. Everybody thinks about playmaking at the quarterback position as being guys who can run around. Playmaking at the quarterback position is also about throwing the ball with tremendous anticipation. Now, you made the point about system. Every quarterback runs a system. That's not a negative. Executing the system at a high level is not a negative statement.
I absolutely love that. I'm just gonna pause it there because I got messed up on an ad again. Can't believe it. I must because I closed my computer. But I love the statement about what you would not have seen of him as a college player that you're seeing of him in the NFL. Never thought about it that way. In terms of his ability to recognize disguise coverages really quickly and respond. So that's really cool. I respect that massively. And then the last part, as he ended up there, just talking about the systems aspect of being a quarterback. He also later in the interview, talked about Brandon Aiyuk and how Brandon Aiyuk benefits from the system. You don't hear that argument about BA because he was a first-round draft pick, right? Whatever the case is, let's hear what a fellow player in the NFL, not a 49er, a Jet, had to say about his respect for the Brock Purdy.
all the motions and things like that, getting to where he want everybody to be. I like him.
What do you think of Purdy as a quarterback, Quincy?
There we go.
Oh, man, I like him. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he get the recognition that, he deserves. Like, he's a great quarterback. He's also good with all the motions and things like that, getting to where he want everybody to be. I like him.
Quincy Williams, telling you what he thinks about what he's seeing in the footage. Let's continue on here because this was fantastic. I missed this on the day, but the 49ers versus Jets line went from 3.5 points to 4.5 points, obviously in favor of the 49ers, after the Trent Williams news was announced. So thanks John Chapman for that one. Nice job. And then the funniest thing, literally the funniest thing I've seen for several days. But Giants are training their receivers with a jugs machine that throws just like Daniel Jones. I mean, that's pretty great, right? That's pretty great. I when I saw that, I laughed pretty hard, and I thought, man, we got to get a kick out of that. Oh, my goodness. All right. Hey, 6 days left. 5 days left, excuse me. 5 days left. It's happening. We have football tomorrow night on actual television. We're watching real NFL football, and every single day leading up to the game, because we have a Friday night game too, I believe this week, because of the overseas game in Brazil, I want to say, is on Friday. So lots of football to get stuck into and enjoy this weekend, followed by Monday Night Football against the Jets. It's going to be an electric game. It's going to be a tough game, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've been doing a lot of talking about the 49ers, and now we get to actually see it for real in action. What a time to be alive.